so many times, and every time you hear it, you're like, I'm not gonna bump to this song. But then you start catching a vibe. I'm sorry, not sorry.
Yeah.
East Coast with the gang gang, West Coast with the gang gang, Lower with the gang gang, you know we don't play gang. East Coast with the gang gang, West Coast with the gang gang, Lower with the gang gang, you know we don't play gang. East Coast with the gang gang, West Coast with the gang gang, Lower with the gang gang, you know we don't play gang. East Coast with the gang gang, West Coast with the gang gang, Lower with the gang gang, you know. Yeah, whoa, East Coast with that gang gang. You know we don't play games, whoa. Hop up on that wagon, oh please just get out the way. You know we stay stuntin', right up in your face. We sorry, not sorry, we just stuck up in our ways. West Coast gon' head stand up, put that glass and hands up. Gang, we famed up, got that change, we bagged up. Crew love, we stay manned up. Ahem like I'm wheezy, yeah. Rap game just too easy, drip so sick I'm queasy, whoa. East Coast with the gang gang, West Coast with the gang gang, Lower with the gang gang, you know we don't play gang. East Coast with the gang gang, West Coast with the gang gang, Lower with the gang gang, you know we don't play gang. East Coast with the gang gang, West Coast with the gang gang, Lower with the gang gang, you know we don't play gang. East Coast with the gang gang, West Coast with the gang gang, Lower with the gang gang. Yeah. Watch me finesse, walk to the line. Good versus evil, God in his prime. Always in prime, always on time. Our time to shine, wifey is fine. I'm doing fine, glad that you asked. God fill me up, mud in my glass. God clean me up, all that I ask. Wherever you headed there fast. I am ahead, you are in last. Last time I checked, you are all gas. Gas in the whip it up fast. Fast and all furious, I'm starting to spaz. Getting all curious, you put me on blast. Blasting that Darius, kids in the back. Back to the future is black. Black like T'Challa, Wakanda attack. East Coast with the gang gang, West Coast with the gang gang, Lower with the gang gang, you know we don't play gang. East Coast with the gang gang, West Coast with the gang gang, Lower with the gang gang, you know we don't play gang. East Coast with the gang gang, West Coast with the gang gang, Lower with the gang gang, you know we don't play gang. East Coast with the gang gang, West Coast with the gang gang, Lower with the gang gang, you know we don't play gang. Check, 1, 2, ayy, check. I don't know if I can rap this shit. Yeah, ayy, yeah. Look at my wrist, yeah, it's poppin'. Took the whole family shopping. Funny that you always flexing. Just saw your car at the auction. Niggas on IG be stalking. All these girls, too many options. Act like I don't hear you talking. Drop it and they just come flocking. I just don't let they tatted. Then got Gorilla Gang tatted. I went like it's automatic. Passing these niggas is tragic. Wearing all black with no magic. You just got green in your ice. They all stop checking the facts, so I just stopped treating them nice. I see you looking, I see you watching. Wasn't too long ago, we was just talking. I'm sorry you hate me now, and I don't mean that I'm sorry for me. I'm just sorry for you, cause you won't get to see what a hot king can do when he's given the chance to become what he knew he could. Now my shit's popping, oh and I'm shocking. I'm just from Buffalo, I shouldn't make it. Was right by my auntie, but that woman hated me. Good at pretending for everyone faking it. Now I'm awake and I see why they made the choice to kick me out just as soon as I made the choice. Now I'm a king, yeah that's the thing, happens a lot. Fatherless kids, yeah we come by the lot. Changing shit whether you like it or not. He would come like it or not. Look at my wrist, yeah it's popping. Took the whole family shopping. Funny that you always flexing. Just saw your car at the auction. Niggas on IG be stalking. All these girls, too many options. Act like I don't hear you talking. Drop it and they just come flocking. I just don't let they tatted. Then got Gorilla Gang tatted. I went like it's automatic. Passing these niggas is tragic. Wearing all black with no magic. You just got green in your ice. They all stop checking the facts, so I just stopped treating them nice. Fuck the whole industry, music and media. Started my own shit, I don't think they feeling me. I just don't get it, so fuck it. I'm done with all this luck shit. Y'all think y'all scaring me, so I address it. But now all your niggas is running. All of your monsters just running. No talent, but your shit is funded. Now all y'all think y'all real funny. Clown flexing with that fake money. Can't buy shit without real shit, so you rent shit cause you real dummy. Just invest in mine like a broker. New money coming soon. Yo last post got like 50,000 room. Look at my wrist, yeah, it's popping. Took the whole family shopping. Funny that you always flexing. Just saw your car at the auction. Niggas on IG be stalking. All these girls, too many options. Act like I don't hear you talking. Drop it and they just come flocking. I just phone that they satty. Then got Gorilla Gang tatted. I went like it's automatic. Passing these niggas is tragic. Wearing all black with no magic. You just got green in your ice. They all stop checking the facts, so I just stop treating them nice.
Swole enormous.
The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, the bacon is sizzling. Welcome to the Daily Swole.
Testing. Testing, testicles. Welcome everyone to episode 3295 of the Daily Mother Swole, the most muscular Swolecast, Beercast, Broadcast, Gangcast, Mancast, Pimpcast, Sleazecast, and Slaycast in that realm, because when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps. What's going on, beeshes, booshes, bustas, hustlers, and yo hoes? It's your boy Papa Solio back with another episode, and today's episode of the Beescast is brought to you, is powered, is sponsored by Everest and K2, flexing on all you beeshes. Welcome to the show. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thanks for being here. You can catch the show also on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and join the fam over at swolenormousx.com. Today, we are giving away a Swole card at the end of today's show. Hashtag get it done. Drop that in the comments down below for a chance to win today's Swole card on Rumble. Thank you so much for being here. We are going to get into some Swole fan posts first, then we'll get into some questions and balls deep content. So without further ado, time for the tip. Babe, just an inch. It's cold outside. All right. We got a post here from Abby to kick us off. And Abby in the Swole Enormous app says, "Hey, Papa Swolio, I just heard your answer to one of my older posts. This was the question about getting big as a female. I know the answer, but I just can't wrap my mind around how this works. And I mentioned my height because I'm petite and it doesn't take much extra size for me to look big. Anyway, I think what is starting to make sense is A, if I am adding reps or weights to my workouts, but the scale is staying the same or decreasing, then I'm adding muscle and strength. If the scale increases without added reps and strength, then that is probably fat." And that's correct. I also heard another episode where you mentioned that you yourself would probably not get bigger, yet you will still train hard and continue adding weights to your workouts. Does that mean at some point we continue to gain strength without increasing total muscle? It's an interesting topic to me because I think that's what I need to grasp to unlock gains rather than focusing on the scale. Thanks for answering my question. No, if you're gaining strength, you're gaining muscle. You know, there's very specific situations with like neuromuscular efficiency when you're new to training, when you're starting a new exercise. There's also form improvements and things like that. But if you're gaining weight, but you're not gaining strength, like you said, then you are not increasing muscle. You're adding fat and water weight. So this goes back to not wanting to get big as a female, which of course is a myth. And usually what happens is people don't realize, and they don't overanalyze in the sense that people don't have DEXA scans and really high quality measurements of being able to measure your body fat percentage. So understand as you go through your day, you wake up, you feel a certain way. If you feel tight or you feel pumped, sometimes you feel lean, sometimes you're a little bit maybe more dehydrated and you look good in the mirror, or you just get out of the shower, or you feel strong, or you're in a good mood, whatever it is, your perception of how you feel oftentimes leads to, oh, I feel like I'm making progress, or I feel like I'm not. This is why you have to go by the objective metrics and actually measure these things. That's why it's important to track your workouts, to track your progress, because then you actually objectively see whether you feel like you're training or not. Whether you feel like training or not, do you actually see the numbers going up? Do you actually see the improvements? So it's very important to get analytical. And it's hard. I don't want to say it's impossible, but it's hard to track your body fat percentage unless you're really doing high level measurements on a regular basis. This is why stepping on a scale in the morning after you go to the bathroom, that's the best time to weigh yourself, but weighing yourself doesn't give you all the feedback. So you could do measurements, you can see how your clothes fit, but in general, what you want to do as someone who's going to the fucking gym, you want to make sure that you are getting stronger. You want to make sure that you're adding weight to the bar or to the machine. You want to make sure that your reps are increasing over time. You're not going to necessarily see jumps all the time. And when you start a new exercise, for example, if you haven't done a certain movement, you might get really sore at the beginning because of the stretching component, because of the mechanical tension, because of the different angle if you've never done that movement before. But then you're going to see maybe strength improve on that machine or that exercise in the short term, and then it's going to plateau off, and then the gains are going to be smaller and smaller. That's really when you start building muscle. So starting something new or doing something new every time might get you sore, and this is why I always talk about not trying to chase soreness, because chasing soreness really gets people into that trap of always looking for a novel stimulus and always changing things up every single session. And the problem with that is you're always creating a novel stimulus. You're not adapting to it. So progressive overload is not something that you do. It's something that your body adapts to. Your body adapts to the stress and allows you to progressively overload. So if you're not able to progressively overload, then there's an issue with your stimulus and your fatigue ratio. There's maybe an issue with your nutrition or sleep or other parts of your programming. So it's very important to understand that concept and that nuance. You mentioned your height because you're petite. It doesn't take much exercise for me to look big. Well, that's the same thing with everyone. If you're 5'5", you're going to be able to look like you're putting on more mass, more width, because you don't have that height. If you're 6'5", it takes a lot more mass to make you look big just because you have a taller frame. So that's really just all that is. So I know you might not want to look big or get big, but if you're trying to build muscle, if you want that shape, then you definitely want to build muscle. It's just much harder than people realize. And usually it's just body fat and it's subcutaneous fat that you're seeing. It's just in the short term. It's not necessarily long term. And you have inflammation after your training, this, that, and the other, water retention. So over time, trust me, you want to build muscle because it's very hard to build muscle. It's hard to maintain muscle. And when I said that I'm not going to get bigger, that's not really true. I didn't say that. I'm just saying it's harder over time because as you expose yourself to so much stimulus over time, the gains are just diminishing returns. I have X amount of testosterone. Everyone naturally has like some sort of upper limit. We don't really know what that limit is. So when we say a natural limit or my genetic limit, it's not like, okay, you're 5'10" or you're 6'2", you have this much muscle you can put on. It's going to be different for each person, but objectively, there is that period where you just you're not going to keep on gaining and gaining and gaining. And she says, does that mean at some point we continue to gain strength without increasing total muscle? No. That's not how it works. So as I get older, there's going to be a limit to how strong I'm going to get. I'm not going to keep on getting stronger forever and just not put on muscle. That's not how it works. So that's why you don't see 80-year-olds lifting as much as 40-year-olds or 30-year-olds and so on and so forth. It's a good response. My point is it's much harder to put on muscle than people realize. Just lifting a little bit, doing some volume, getting some inflammation, retaining some water. People think, oh, I'm getting big. You're not really getting big. It's just a lot of times in the short term, you might retain some water, you might have some inflammation. And once you narrow down some of those other habits, maybe your caloric intake, it's not really big in the sense of muscle that you're putting on too much muscle. It's really just all the other things in the same context. And remember, as you get older, when you're training hard and you're lifting hard and you're always trying to get stronger, because eventually you're just trying to maintain the muscle that you have. So as long as you're continue to provide that stimulus, you're more likely and you're going to maintain more of your bone density and more of your muscle mass. But of course, we're all going to be decreasing over time. After a certain point, you're going to have that peak. And usually for people, that's in their 30s and 40s. And that's why when people get into their 40s or so, then they start thinking about testosterone replacement, this, that, and the other. That's why those foundations are really important. And if you're taking some of those things and you're doing a lot of supplements, this, that, and the other, but you don't have your foundations properly, you might gain some muscle, but then you kind of cascade and you might lose that quicker because you don't have those foundational habits that are really important. So very important to focus on building muscle. And if you're a female, it doesn't mean that you have to do so much volume. So maybe you don't have to do as much volume. That's not something that you're trying to focus on, or certain exercise in certain areas. Maybe you don't want to get big, wide, bulky shoulders. So you stay away from maybe heavy pressing movements or tons of deltoid work. Everyone's different. So just because I say try to build muscle, you want to focus on building muscle, doesn't mean you have to do every single body part the same way. If you're not stepping on a bodybuilding stage, you don't have to worry about perfect symmetry. You don't have to worry about getting big everywhere. You know what I'm saying? If we're talking about open bodybuilding, these guys are taking tons of juice and they're trying to develop every body part, but have them proportionate. If you're trying to build certain areas and you want to develop your legs more, then you can focus more on your legs. You don't have to do as much upper body. It's good to do everything, but you might not have to do as much volume in certain areas. That way you don't put on muscle as much in those areas. So you could drop your thoughts in the comments down below. Let's get another one. Thank you for the response, Abby. Appreciate you. Anthony, let's see this.
What's in the box?
Good morning. I'm new here, 49 years old, trucker of 26 years. This app has a ton of incredible content, and I look forward to improving my health and life with Papa Swole. By the way, I don't know who put my last name twice, but nice touch. Last name twice? Maybe it was something when you signed up. Maybe we don't put the last names for these posts, but welcome to the Swole fam, Anthony. Welcome. Sometimes when people sign up for the app, maybe it automatically puts in, I don't know if he has last name in there twice. Look at this one from Jeremy. Jeremy, look at that Swole enormous hat. They got the dad hat going. Jeremy says, somehow I deleted my last post. I got my first Swole apparel. I'm official. Damn right you are. I wore it this morning for my upper body workout in the gym. Beast mode. Good stuff, dude. Good stuff. You've been official for a while.
Fuck yeah!
And I will say, I think the hat has made your beard pop out. Look at that beard. Looking good, dude. Looking good. Look at that face. Got a little Jack Black thing going on here. Love it. Thanks for sharing, Jeremy. The hat looks good on you. Looks good on you, dog. All right. So we got a bunch of females here. What's your approach to this? You know, I've been trying to get women to lift heavier for a long time. I see all these women on Instagram and stuff. I see these bungee jumping classes. Have you seen that? Where women strap themselves to a bungee cord to the ceiling and just hop around, and they defeat the whole purpose of exercising because they're removing gravity from the situation, just hopping around. You know, most people, unfortunately, will do anything but lift heavy weights. And there's this idea that women are going to get bulky, you're going to get big, but you're not. You're going to improve your insulin sensitivity. You're going to improve your bone density. You're going to get leaner. You're going to get that toned look. Tone is just having muscle and not being bloated and fat. That's all that tone is. So you really want to build muscle. And ladies, it's harder for you to build muscle than men. You're not going to build the same muscle and the same rate as men. You don't have the amounts of testosterone that the average man has. So lifting heavy is going to improve all aspects of your health, mental health, your physical health. And like I said, a lot of women won't do the same exercise as men. You don't have to worry about benching 315. You're not trying to build certain muscles in the same capacity as men will. But most of the women that you might look to and aspire, oh, I want that physique, they lift really hard, they train really heavy. But when you have your nutrition in order, then your body utilizes extra body fat, this, that, and the other. It's really not that complicated. But if more women stopped or got out of this mindset of, oh, I don't want to get too big, or I'm going to get bulky, I'm going to be huge like a box, that's not going to happen unless you are just ruthlessly in a caloric surplus and just training maybe compound movements like hard over and over and over and over and over again. A lot of women think that they're just going to blow up and and just get huge. And really a lot of that is just short-term inflammation, and it's just pushing the fat further outwards, and they feel like they're getting thick or big, and it's just like short-term inflammation or water retention, right? A lot of women are training and doing this stuff, and guess what? They're on birth control or hormonal birth control, and they're eating a lot of other things that are causing a lot of water retention. They're not getting quality sleep and all those other things, and that does have a factor in what you see in the mirror and how your clothes fit and so on and so forth. Okay, so let's get into some questions. We can follow up if you want to follow up with any of those things. And let's get into some live questions. Drop in the comments down below. Hashtag AskPapaSwolio. And we will take some more questions. Ellie says, I used to look up to China, but I wouldn't ever juice like her. Yeah, she was a beast because she was taking, who knows, Anavar, testosterone, who knows what she was taking. She was a monster. Alan says it's 2025, Papa. Females now have the same testosterone as men. Emotional damage.
Are there any women here today?
Good call.
Emotional damage.
Good call. Good call. That's right. That's right. What is a woman anyway? All right, let's get into some questions. We'll take one first from Instagram stories. We're live on Rumble and YouTube. We're taking questions for the Daily Swole podcast. Come watch on Rumble and YouTube at the Daily Swole. Mod Alsaf 12, Papa Swolio. Which exercise is the best and hardest in the gym? That's a really vague question. There is no best exercise, and I can't tell you what exercise you're going to feel is the hardest. There are certain ones that are more fatiguing, but just because it's hard to do doesn't mean it's worthwhile doing. So you have to understand that. One of the most important things about programming is knowing what you're trying to accomplish and then specifically targeting that. And an exercise being extremely challenging, like a snatch, for example, that's not required to build muscle. So what's your goal? What are you trying to accomplish? And is the exercise that you're doing going to get you there? And then you can focus on that. So I need more context. It doesn't really matter if an exercise is hard. Just because something, and this goes with many things in life, just because something's hard to do doesn't mean it's worthwhile doing. Yeah, Mark says the hardest exercise is putting your shit away when you're done. Yeah, re-rack your weights. Re-rack your weights, fam.
Matt Damon.
What I like, hey, that's one of the benefits of having a home gym. One of the benefits of having a home gym is you don't have to re-rack your weights if you don't want to. So I go out to my gym and I leave most of I don't have any weight trees out there. I actually have a weight tree. I have a few weight trees. They're just collecting dust and rusting outside. I have like 3, 4, or 5 weight trees that I just don't use. One weight tree I do. But in my gym, I didn't realize that I'm not going to need weight trees because I just leave. The machines are the weight tree. I have a couple machines that if I want to use them, I need to have like 10 or 20 plates on them. So I just leave it on that. If I want the plates, I take them off that machine. So that's one thing that that's one thing that I underestimated when I was getting all these machines is how many plates I needed. Because I can have maybe 10 or 20 plates, but I'm not going to move them around all the machines. So I want to leave a couple plates because then if I go over there, it's already ready to warm up. So you need a lot of plates. And in a commercial gym, a lot of the machines have, the plates that you need for that machine. You'll have horns on that machine and you have like 10 plates on that machine. You need X amount of plates for each machine so people aren't dragging them all around the gym. But if you're in a commercial gym, that's not your gym. You're renting the gym. You're using with other people. Be respectful. Put your weights back. That's the worst. That's the worst. I really wish that gyms like LA Fitness or other gyms really had strict rules. It says re-rack your weights if you actually canceled people's memberships or you called people out and there was a strict culture of putting your weights back. It'd be so much better. You go to some of these commercial gyms and the dumbbell rack. Have you ever been? I'm sure a lot of you go and there's not really anyone there and weights are all over the floor. The entire dumbbell rack is completely empty. It's like, Who just lifts weights and just puts them down and walks away? It's really a scummy thing to do. It's really a scummy thing to do. Dr. Delta says the fuckers at my school don't track their weights and it's agonizing. Track their weights? You mean re-rack, or you mean track like what weights they're using? Again, if you're not tracking what weights you're using for a workout, if you're not keeping track of these things, then how do you know what you did last time? How do you know exactly what you need to do? And this is the reason why a lot of people do junk volume. Every time you go to the gym, you're just kind of like, oh, doing something that's hard. And a lot of times you're doing just different weights. You're not doing actually what you should be doing. If you actually track accurately, you can put on 1 pound or put on 2.5 pounds and get that extra rep. And you can really be focused and intentful with your training. And it'll save you time and you'll get more out of it. So you don't need to do 3, 4, or 5 sets on exercise trying to figure out and just go towards fatigue. A lot of people just train to fatigue because they don't know what they did last time. They just go to beat themselves up and they gauge their progress by how sore they were the next day. You know, I did a workout yesterday and certain body parts, I'm like, all right, did that work? It's still in my head. Like, I don't really feel it that much. Did I do the exercise? I know objectively what I did, but if it's not a completely novel stimulus, then you might not feel sore the next day, which is also a good thing. If you're able to increase the weight, if you're able to increase the weight over time and you're getting stronger, you're building muscle. Being sore doesn't necessarily, it doesn't correlate with, it might correlate with you having targeted that muscle because you moved in a certain way, but it doesn't correlate to you objectively building muscle. So stop training for soreness. And that's a hard thing for people to get through their heads, is to not train for soreness, because it's nice to know the next day, oh, I feel it. I know I did work yesterday. Well, if you look at your numbers, you know you did the work. Being sore is not, it's maybe a general or a loose proxy for an effective workout, because if you trained your shoulders and your shoulders are sore, then okay, well, you did an exercise that targeted your shoulders, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you progressively overload. It could have been a new stretch. It could have been a new angle. It could have been a new tension. And it's not necessarily that you're building muscle. Joe says there's a special place in hell for people who don't re-rack their weights. That's my, that's what I want to do in my gym, is get like a gym rules on the side and just be like, never re-rack weights. I never re-rack my weights. Sometimes I do, but I like having the weights ready for me on the next set. But if it's my gym, I do what I want. That's the beautiful thing about a home gym. You can do what you want. Emmanuel, what do you think about Sampdoria in Serie C? Is that a soccer thing? I don't care. I don't know what the hell that is. Come on now, go to the gym. JMBN2 Brighton, Papa Swolio, how do I balance a 50-hour-a-week job, second business, 6 dogs, and go to the gym? P.S. I love your posts. 6 dogs. 6 dogs.
Wow.
I have 2, and that's plenty. How do I balance? Well, first off, get your headset or your mind out of this whole work-life balance thing. There really is no such thing. You know, there really is no such thing as a balance. Everyone's life is different. As long as you're creating the life that you love and that you want to live, that's most important. Some people like to be moving around a lot, doing a lot of things. Some people love a full schedule, or they feel compulsively drawn to that. It's genetics, it's how you're raised, or whatever it is. Sometimes you just have a busy schedule because, so if you're saying balance, usually you're comparing yourself or your life to other people. And I think the whole work-life balance thing is just a scam. It's a way to get people to underperform. It's a way to make people feel better about not putting in a lot of effort. This work-life balance, oh, don't work extra hard, or don't put extra effort. Oh, don't go to the gym. You need some balance. You need to relax, take a load off. It's usually a way to stay average. So just forget the balance and get the shit done that you want to get done. And so I would say just train first, prioritize, because you could work 50 hours a week. There's nothing wrong with that. You could work 60 hours a week. Going to the gym is work too. That's investing. Just do it first. Anytime someone asks me about long, physical jobs and stuff like that, hey, I work 8 to 8, or I work at 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. and exhausted afterwards. Go first. I know it's not maybe what someone wants to hear, but prioritize your health, get up early, train for an hour, and then go to work. Even if it's a physical job, remember, strength training doesn't have to be a ton of volume. You're creating the stimulus. You're going to feel great. You're going to invest in your health, Everything's going to feel better. You're going to have an easier day at your work and your physical job. I promise you, because that's your new normal. That's your standard physical activity. But going for some targeted weight training that's focused on progressive overload, that's focused on minimizing fatigue in that case and maximizing stimulus, it's just going to be better overall. Just prioritize it. Just prioritize it. 6 dogs. Wow. 6 dogs. Have you been going to the gym? Because you're looking great. Bing bong. Thank you. Appreciate it. I have been going to the gym. How'd you know? Texas Legion, 1836. Papa Swole. Besides home gym items like the bench press and punching bag, what would you recommend? Besides home gym items, what would I recommend for what? What are you trying to accomplish? Things you could buy at home? If you don't have a lot of space, adjustable dumbbells are great. Kettlebells can be effective. Getting a combination rack that's like a Smith machine, barbell. You can get a whole all-in-one rack. I think Cerny has one of those that has weight stacks and stuff. So if you don't have a lot of space, if you're trying to get a gym machine, right? If you only have limited space and you want to get a gym machine, you're like, okay, I want to increase my strength. I want more stability. A Smith machine is a great investment because you can do every body part on a Smith machine. And you get the benefits of a machine because it's stable exercise. You could do every body part on it. So it's a great combination. You get a combination Smith machine barbell rack with some cables on it and stuff, and you could have everything all in one. So there's a lot of different options you can have. That was pretty vague. Bench press and a punching bag. What would I recommend? I mean, there's 45-degree hyper machines. There's so many different pieces of equipment. It really depends on what you're trying to accomplish. All right, questions. Drop in the comments down below. Black Label Bronco on Instagram. Papa Solio, what kind of exercises can I do from home that are low impact and shed pounds? I have terrible knees. So again, we talked about yesterday or the day before about a bad back. If you want to check out that episode, I forget which one that is. I think I have in the title. But you don't have terrible knees, you have weak knees. So stop labeling your body parts as terrible or bad. It's just because they've been exposed to bad habits or injuries. You know, maybe you had a car accident or something, but you have to strengthen them. So you only have terrible knees because you don't train knee mobility properly. So if you join the Swole fam over at swolenormousx.com, you could check out our ankle, knee, and hip mobility masterclasses. It's a great place to start. So I'm not going to feed into, I have bad this, I have bad that. You have weak this, you have weak that, and you have to strengthen it. So like Cerny says, reverse sled is fantastic. That's probably the best thing for your knees. That's low impact, is reverse sled. You can do things like step downs and astragalus lunges and stuff like that with body weight and elevated blocks and things like that. But reverse sled is going to be very low impact. Shedding pounds is going to come down to overall lean mass and proper nutrition. So it has nothing to do with shedding pounds. Reverse sled's great. WTF intake. Papa Solia, how many months approximately it takes to lose weight if you're not bulked but fat? I have no idea. That's a Matt Damon question. I'll tell you why.
Damon.
How many months it takes to lose weight? You might never lose weight if you don't get your habits in order. So there's no guarantee that you will lose weight. So how many months? I have no idea. If you're not bulked but fat, I don't know what that means. So you're just skinny fat. So you need to build muscle. So get on a quality lifting program and get your nutrition in order in all 7 pillars. You can learn more over at swolenormousx.com. All right. THZ, Papa Solio, pull-ups. I need to be able to do a lot. What are good routines to build a good base? Practice your pull-ups. Get a band. Practice negatives. Do inverted rows. These are all things that are important. Do dead hangs, great for your grip strength. Club swinging is great for your tendon strength, but you have to practice pull-ups. All right. DJ Disney 05, Papa Soy, how to raise your stamina. Stamina for what? Again, stamina is different. Work capacity, cardiovascular capacity. Stamina for what? Stamina for the bedroom or something like that? In other words, you got to train yourself. So stamina in what sense? Vague question gets a vague answer. All right, last chance for questions. Drop them in the comments down below. Oh, I didn't change it to the knowledge cock portion. So if you have questions, drop it in the comments. Sometimes we get a lot of questions. Sometimes we get weak questions from Instagram. Sometimes It's hit or miss. Questions are hit or miss. We're live today on a Wednesday, and sometimes there's a lot of questions. Sometimes we answer them all yesterday. Martial Arts Mama says, gain muscle and don't worry about how long it takes. Fix your nutrition and get your ass in the gym. It's hard to build muscle. People think it's easy to build muscle. When I lift, I just get too big too quickly. It's not true. It's just not true. No one gains muscle quickly unless you're brand new to the gym. And it's really not as much muscle as you think. So a lot of women think they're just going to start lifting weights and bulk up tremendously. Yeah, it's not going to happen. Not going to happen. Will Beesing, do you still eat Sour Patch Kids? I haven't had Sour Patch Kids in probably like 8 years. The last time I ever bought Sour Patch Kids was a 5-pound bag that I smashed with the Thor hammer for some video around Thanksgiving or something. I smashed it, and then I picked them all up and threw them out. I didn't even eat one of them. So it's been a long time. That was like 2017, maybe. Maybe it might have been even 2016. Probably 2017. It's been like 8 or 9 years since I've had anything like that. People don't really... It's not just the working hard, though. It's not just the working hard, because people go for that kind of perceived effort. They do things to feel like they expended themselves. They do things to be out of breath and wiped out. And that's not the goal. You know, that's not really going to get people what they want. They end up getting skinny, or they get lean, or they don't get it. They don't build the muscle that they want, or they kind of flatline. They exhaust themselves because they're incurring too much fatigue. They're just doing a ton of cardio. So just because you're putting in effort and you're sweaty or you're out of breath, people associate this kind of like cardiovascular activity with having the physique that they want. And usually it's ass backwards. Papa Swole, is just walking a good way to start? Walking is great for everyone. Neil, how do you deload and how often? If you're on a good quality program, you don't need to deload. Deloading is usually a byproduct of overtraining and poor programming. So if you need to take like a few weeks off and deload, you're probably overdoing it, and you are overdoing it. So if you need to deload, you're not managing your fatigue on a regular basis. You're doing too much volume. So if you up your intensity, meaning proximity to failure, you don't need as much volume as you think you do. You don't need redundancy. A lot of people have tons of redundancy in their programming. We talk about this a lot. They do a lot of pressing. They do chest pressing and shoulder pressing, and too many pressing movements. They fatigue themselves. They don't make progress, and you're just doing too much busy work, essentially. So we call it junk volume. We call it just volume that's not, it's just beating a dead horse, right? And the reason why that phrase is important is, like, if a horse is dead, you keep on kicking it, it's not going to die more. You know, you're just numb, essentially. And you'll notice this if you have really high volume workouts. At the end, you're just wiped out, and you're dropping the weight. If you have to drop weight on later sets and keep on like dropping the weight and do drop sets, it's because you're done. Like, drop sets and those kinds of intensifiers are not worthwhile for building muscle. I used to do a lot of those things, and I wish I didn't, looking back on it. Because you have this idea that the harder you train and the more that you put yourself through pain, the better results you get. And that's not the case. Just because you can handle a lot and you can beat the shit up out of yourself, just because the human body can handle a lot doesn't mean you should push it to that limit all the time. And I mentioned that proximity to failure. I posted this on X and I shared it on Instagram. And a lot of people are like, well, you should train to failure. You should train to failure. You can train to failure. I think you should train to failure so you know what task failure is. But on every set, all the time, it's too much. You don't need to. You can use it as a tool. Use it sparingly. You don't have to train to failure every single set. But if you don't know what failure is, then you don't know what 1 rep in reserve is either. So it's really important to know your limits and then understand how much you need. And trust me, when you get more advanced, you do not need to train to that absolute failure to make progress. And the benefit of not pushing yourself to that absolute limit will allow you to recover faster and then train hard again. Remember, as you get stronger and as you use greater and greater loads, it's so much more taxing on the body. It's still the same human body, same brain, same lungs, same heart, all that stuff. So if you're someone new to the gym and you have 1 or 2 plates on a leg press, it's not as overloading as if you have 20 plates on a leg press. So pushing yourself to that absolute limit with quality form within like literally like a rep or 2 failure, it's so stressful on the body. You can only recover so fast from that. So as you get more advanced, as you start using such amazing and such high loads, you have to manage that more effectively. You have a lot of people that are lifting 20 pounds, doing super slow reps, time under tension, bro. You're wasting your time. You're artificially slowing down the reps and just getting a burn and getting a pump, and you're doing 21s and all this stupid shit. It's not building you muscle. You might be flooding blood to the muscle, but you're getting like a transient hypertrophy, getting a little pump. That's fine. But then you're still going to be skinny afterwards because you're not actually increasing the stimulus. It's very important to be trying to move the weight as fast as you can, but the weight is moving slow because the load is at that limit for you. And you're doing 5, 6, 7, 8 reps, and you're getting that stimulus from the beginning. So you're cutting off a lot of that extra garbage and you're getting right to the source. That's why you might not get sore from your workouts in the same manner, because you're minimizing that type of fatigue and you're maximizing the stimulus. Jillian, Papa Swole, do you think there's a space for weight loss drugs for those who have struggled for decades? I think those things are very dangerous. I think they're very dangerous, and they are experimental, even if they've been out for 10 or 20 years. I mean, that's a very small blip on the radar for humanity, and there's a lot of issues with those things, a lot of risks. And I'm going to go out on a limb, and for people that have struggled, I guarantee that your habits and your day-to-day are not where they should be in order to actually improve your health without those things. There's a lot of people that go for cutting their stomach in half, you know, the lap band procedures and gastric bypass and all these kinds of things. But you can achieve these things with better lifestyle habits. I would just be very, very, very hesitant. Maybe in some extreme situations that might be an option of last resort, but I would be very mindful. Too many people are hopping on these things right away as a shortcut, and it's going to catch up in the back end. People go for short-term gratification, and then unfortunately, I think they're going to be paying for that long-term. And I think we're going to look back on this phase of humanity with like disdain. It's going to be one of those things where people used to do like mercury and bloodletting back in the day for getting the bad spirits out of the body. Like, oh, you're not doing well. Let's bleed you out. Let's get those evil spirits out of the bad blood. You know, there's a lot of things that we used to do that we look back like, oh my God, maybe we shouldn't be feeding people and putting mercury up people's asses and stuff like that. Like, not a good thing. So there's a lot of things that people used to do and expose themselves to that we would be like shocked at today. And I think that's going to be the same thing in the future. Will says, I was watching one of your old videos and thought I'd ask. Oh, yeah. Well, I leave all those videos on there. All the old Sour Patch Kids and stuff like that. I leave all those videos online. I'm not embarrassed or anything by it. I'm totally fine with having that stuff out there because, yeah, I used to eat shit like that. I was also eating liver and grass-fed beef and this, that, and the other. But I think it's important to have those things out there. Because if you're not learning and changing and developing and adjusting, then you're not evolving as a human. And it's important to have that kind of, I don't want to say evidence, but it's important to have that message out there also. I know I used to eat those things. I know I used to do those things. I know I used to make those excuses. So we're all human. I haven't been eating this way my entire life. I wish I was doing this a lot earlier. I've been eating raw liver and grass-fed beef and this, that, and the other since like 2010 or 2009 or whatever like that. But I had other bad habits and I've tightened that up. I've improved my sleep tremendously. I wish I focused on my sleep a lot earlier. That's why I harp on that stuff so much now, because I want more people to get ahead of that earlier than, I wish I did earlier. So I'm just sharing my experiences and hopefully shortcutting you guys so you can avoid problems that can be avoided. And it's really not that complicated. How many people actually focus on getting quality sleep? I think that's the biggest issue in our society. One of them is the war on sleep. How many times do you watch, let's say hockey playoffs are going on now and different shows, things premiere at 9, 10 o'clock at night. People are watching stuff till 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. Blue light phones, just Wi-Fi, everything. Very few people are actually really nailing their sleep. And the sleep is such an absolute cornerstone for your health. And if you don't get quality sleep, you're going to look through everything in your life through a negative lens. You're going to feel like shit. And just like food, people don't realize how bad the food is making them feel and how terrible it is for your health until you do an elimination diet and cut these things out. Same thing with sleep. You don't realize how good you can feel just getting better sleep until you actually improve your sleep. And it takes time because it's a lot of habits you have to change in order to get to sleep quality every night. I'm talking about every night. I'm not talking about a couple nights a week. I sleep in on the weekends. That's not what I'm talking about. It's every day. Will, Papa Swole, I've been doing the upper rest, lower rest split besides yoga and club swinging. Anything else I can do on my active recovery days? Yeah, go for a walk, sauna, cold plunge, things like that. Go do other activity, be outside, go get some sun. It sounds like you have it down right. Yeah. I like the every other day because I can go to a full body split when I want to. I've been doing upper lower every other day, but I might go back to, I'm not sure. I just fluctuate, but I like the every other day because I can go upper lower. And then if I decide I want to go back to full body, then I can kind of maybe take an extra day off and then do full body every other day. So I like the flexibility of training every other day because I could do upper lower or I can go back to full body if I need to or if I feel like it. Loretta says 100%. My 13-year-old niece was asking me for makeup for dark shadows under her eyes. Ridiculous. I told her to get better sleep. Yeah. People ask about skin, like, oh, my skin sucks, or you have acne, or this, that, and the other. And sometimes things happen, right? You have stress or something, or you have a clogged pore. Like, it's not like you're never going to have a pimple or something again, or eczema. But if you don't get quality sleep, it destroys your body. That's the only time your body is completely recovering. And if you treat your sleep like you do people worry about nutrition and training. If you focus on your sleep more, if you prioritize your sleep, number one, yes, the training is important. Yes, the nutrition is important. Hydration is important. If you focus on your sleep and everything revolves around getting the best sleep possible, you're going to feel so much better. You're going to have so much more energy. Everything in your life is going to improve. You're going to have more optimism. You're just going to feel so much better. Getting sunlight and sleep, sun and sleep. And a lot of you live on higher latitudes and it's hard for you to get full body sun. And it's so important. Start your day with sun, end your day with sun, get sun during the day, get full body sun. Your skin's an organ. Sleep and sun. Cerny says, I'm so glad I started taking magnesium glycinate. Sleep is now something I get enough of. Feels amazing. Positive Charisma. How does passive cardio / sauna compare to active cardio? My friend runs a lot and claims nothing can replace the benefits. I'm not into running. Yeah, cardio, sauna, you get cardio mimicking benefits. And you get a lot of benefits from sauna that you don't get through cardio. A lot of people like that cardio because you get that runner's high. It's kind of like a moving meditation. So a lot of people that would benefit from meditation and sauna do a lot of people run compulsively. They run because that's the only time they just feel like their mind is clear. Because if you're pushing yourself to that limit and you're running, you're just focusing on your breathing. It's just like a moving meditation. You know, if you're training hard and you're doing that kind of like intense cardio, you're not really thinking of anything but what you're doing. You're focusing on each step. You're focusing on breathing. You're focusing on what you're doing. And it's a quieting of the mind that I think a lot of people are like compulsively looking for. So you can get that through reading more books, getting off social media, meditating. Sauna is fantastic. So, I mean, if you want to do cardio and stuff, that's fine. But I would make sure you do sauna also. I think a lot of people do that kind of intense cardio just to quiet their mind and numb themselves. That's why they kind of have that cardio addiction. Let's see. Yeah, I agree. Alex says everything goes on so late at night, but it's so important to crash early and get up early in the morning. Yeah, I mean, there's great quotes and saying, you know, I mean, I've heard this for a long time, and a lot of you parents often say this, but nothing good happens after like 9 or 10 p.m. Like there's no need to being out after 9 or 10 p.m. Like what good is going to happen by being out that late if you're out? You know, not just like drunk drivers and this and the other, but there's really nothing beneficial for being out or being awake up late at night. There's no benefit to it. Much better to get quality sleep and get up early. It really is. Much better. John, I focus on sleep now, but waited longer than you. I turned 60 later this year. Just joined Swolenormous X. Well, welcome. Yeah. So that's kind of what this show is all about, is just me sharing my experiences and what I've learned over the years and trying to pass along that knowledge to people that need it and can benefit from it. Because I wish I was watching this show. I wish I knew shocker, right? It's called wisdom. You wish you knew younger what you know today. Okay, you can't go back in time, but I can pay it forward. And the second best time is now. So focusing on it now is important. Alex Papasolio, what are your thoughts on nasal strips and mouth tape to aid breathing while you sleep? I don't use nasal strips, but I use a little surgical tape on my mouth. It's very important to nose breathe in general, but also at night. Jillian says sometimes weight loss is a mental issue. Well, most things in life are a mental issue. People put up their own restrictions. They put up their own fences and people get in their own ways. So many people that are jumping to Ozempic or any kind of like quick fix, you look at their daily habits and you're like, I mean, I look at that and I can say you're missing A, B, C, D, E. So it's easier just to pop a pill or take an injection, or you think it is short term, than actually changing your habits. But this is what happens when you have a high time preference, when you don't have a long-term vision, when you don't really have a foundation. You're just looking for a quick fix. Hey, how quickly can I lose weight? How can I do? You need to change your habits, and people don't want to do that. They don't want to change their friend groups. They don't want to change their habits. They don't want to change the food that they eat. They don't want to blah, 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 blah. Okay, so you're not going to get it. You're going to have problems. Good luck with that. What do I think of feeder workouts? What do you mean? I'm assuming we're not talking about eating. Cold plunge thoughts. I like my cold plunge. I'll dunk my face in it if I'm not jumping in full body, but I won't do it after I train. If anything, I'll do it on off days or before I work out. I like my cold plunge really more in the summer because it's so hot. Sometimes I was like jumping in for a minute. I don't do like 5. I don't try to push myself and do 6 minutes. I can get 6 minutes. I just go in, cool off. It feels good. And I get out. I use it just for psychological benefits. Or if I burn myself, if I get like hot water, I'm like, and I burn my stomach or I burn my arm, I'll just dunk it in the plunge. But I like sticking my face in it. Or if I'm outside getting sun and it's hot, I'll jump in the plunge for a minute or two. Gastric sleeves are on the rise. They've always been around. That's been around for a long time. They say women get less benefit from a cold plunge. I don't know if that's true. Roman, feeder workouts, mini workouts that you do 24 hours after you work out, training the same muscles. 24 hours? You're just better off doing a full body every other day. You don't need to train muscles more than every 48 hours. So if you're training muscles more than 48 or shorter than 48 hours, you're causing more fatigue, you're not recovered, or you're not training hard enough. So you could just do every other day is really the most you want to train a muscle. Every other day. I'm not saying you can't train 2 days in a row, but if you're training a muscle hard, like if you're doing an all-out set, every 48 hours is the most I would recommend. And some muscles will incur more damage. Certain muscles will take more to recover than others. So just because you could train every other day doesn't mean every muscle will be ideal to train every other day. And when you understand redundancy and how certain exercise can hit multiple muscles, you can really fine tune what you do. I go back and forth. I do upper lower and then I'm like, I'd rather do less and train body parts more frequently. But I also like the extra recovery of upper lower every other day. So that's like a Wednesday, Sunday, or a Monday, Friday. So I like training. I like completely recovering. I like that for my legs. I feel like a little extra recovery. You know, certain body parts like quads, I really like a little extra recovery for my knees. It feels better. And I could train them harder if I give, 72 or 96 hours of recovery. But it really comes down to exercise selection. For example, if I'm training legs or doing full body every other day, I'm not doing squats or a hack squat every other day, just because I'm not going to recover from doing that kind of load and that kind of exercise. So I might do some sort of, if I'm doing full body, I'll probably do some sort of pendulum squat or leg press or hack squat once a week. And then on the other days, I'll do leg extensions or other things like that. So it depends. Everyone's going to be a little bit different, but you have to understand what exercise selection you're choosing, and certain exercises are going to be more taxing. Tips on hair health. Well, you'd like to know that I'm launching some body care and hair care products for accelerating growth, scalp seed, mane gains, and Papa Swolio's bull cream. So those products will be available soon on papaswolio.com. But hair, skin, and nails, it all starts with nutrition. Nutrition, sun, sleep, very important for the hair. So collagen's great. Supplementing with collagen, getting a good quality grass-fed collagen protein, bone broth, high protein, meat, eggs, all these things are very important for hair, skin, and nails. Matt Fritz, Papa Swolio, been working out without results and found out that my testosterone was shot. Thoughts on TRT? Personal choice. I'm not taking any TRT or anything like that. I haven't, but I'm open to it. What's your nutrition and stuff like? A lot of people's testosterone is shit because there's tons of phthalates and petrochemicals and estrogenics in their environment. Your nutrition's off, your sleep is off. So a lot of those things can dramatically improve testosterone naturally. So I haven't yet found the need to look into that to take anything like TRT. But everyone's going to be a little bit different what you've been exposed to. But nutrition and lifestyle habits and sleep are paramount. If you're not getting good sleep and your nutrition sucks and your training sucks, and your testosterone is going to be tanked. Not enough sun. People underestimate how important sunlight is for testosterone. Getting sun on your balls. Yeah, proper hydration. Proper hydration is not water. It's also electrolytes, sodium, potassium, magnesium, and it's nutrition too, right? Joe, where can I get some quality bull milk? Oh, rare, but it's, I don't want to give up my source because I'm trying to keep it for myself, but bull milk is the best. High quality protein, tons of electrolytes. It's like a miracle food. It goes bull milk and then liver. Straight up. I got my source, but I keep that close to the chest. Get yourself a bull, man. You can get it straight from the teat. Rat milk. Oof. We watched the other night The Animal with Rob Schneider, and he's drinking badger milk. Those early 2000s Rob Schneider movies like Hot Chick and The Animal. Rob Schneider went on a tear with all these it's such a fucking weird movie. So funny. It's just ridiculous. Just an absurd movie. I'm sure a lot of you have seen it. You probably haven't seen it in a while. I watched it. It's so ridiculous. It's so much. I wouldn't say it's stupid. I mean, it is stupid, but it's just so much more absurd than I remember it. The Animal. Well, that's why you have 6 nipples. That's so fucking stupid. It's me, Jessica. Rob Schneider's awesome. He's awesome. Alex, I'm taking 1 gram of magnesium. I'm always putting salt in my water, but I still get a cramp every now and then. Is there anything else you do to prevent them? Potassium. You getting potassium? Could be that also. And you can also spread out the magnesium 1 gram in a day or 1 gram at one time. I'll take it a couple times a day. I'll have it in the morning, in the evening, and especially around my workout or in the afternoon. Yeah, The Animal's a classic. Yeah, Rob Schneider's great. He's super based too. So I don't mind, when I go on like Amazon or like, oh, I'll rent the movie. I know he's getting a cut of the proceeds, or I hope he is. So I like supporting people that are not artarded. Alex, you're taking 1 gram of glycinate in the morning. Well, that's all right, but you're probably not getting enough. That might not be enough. Also, it's proper nutrition too. So you're getting magnesium, potassium, and sodium and other foods. So maybe you'd like splitting it up. You're not taking it at night? I would split it up. Take 500 and 500 and see if you feel better. Or 250 4 times a day. Just try spreading it out first. Try spreading it out more often and then see how it feels, just getting smaller amounts. And just taking magnesium right away doesn't necessarily, like, you have to kind of build up and get used to it in your body, like digest it and kind of integrate it. So try splitting it up into some smaller. You could take 500 in the morning and then 250 and 250. I would try spreading it out a little bit. You might not be getting enough throughout the day. Little Nicky. Oh, I haven't watched that in forever. I might go through. We watch. We don't watch new stuff. We watch classic. Maybe we'll go through maybe we'll do Deuce Bigelow. You got to go through the old, like, Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison, the old school movies. In The Animal, I love like Norm's cameo. Hey, is that all right if we light our torches now in this mob? Another question. You're out of the mob, back of the mob. He's like, this mob sucks. Oh, God. Norm Macdonald. One of the absolute goats of comedy. Arguably the funniest man ever. How much creatine do I take? I take about, I would say, 10 to 20 grams a day. Usually 10 or 15 grams, depending. I'll take 10 grams in the morning, and then I'll usually take it around my workout. I don't really obsess about taking the same amount every day, but taking at least 5 grams a day is a great place to start. And then you can adjust from there. Anytime you're doing a new supplement, just take less and then increase it and see how you feel. There's always going to be a point of diminishing returns, and different products, people are going to react differently. There's not all creatine's created equal, so you got to see what works best for you. Damn, I haven't seen you since 2021. Well, I'm here. Never left. Papa Swole here, 24/7. Know what I mean? Know what I mean, Beaches? Hashtag get it done. Drop that in the comments down below. Let's get the rainbow flag. Let's get the America flag on. There we go. All right, more questions. Any other questions? Am I on gear? No, I'm not, but thanks for asking. It's a compliment. There was a great bodybuilding.com shirt. I remember my friend had one, I guess, like back in the day. I guess you could still buy supplements. That was one of the, back when bodybuilding.com was like the only website where you could find information. They had all their message boards. I think they closed them down, which is a shame. But I guess you bought supplements, and if you get, they give you a free t-shirt, and it was like, no, I'm not on steroids, but thanks for asking. It's a great shirt. Maybe I'll make that shirt. Maybe I'll put that on a shirt. You guys want that? I'm not on steroids. No, I'm not on steroids, but thanks for asking. I think it's a compliment. People are like, are you on juice? Cool. I'm glad if I look like I'm on juice, dope. Awesome. I don't take that as an insult. And you have to really be careful when people say in their bio. Anytime someone has natty in their bio, it's usually, they're usually not natty. If you're natural, you don't have to put it in your bio that you're natural or tell everyone. So I always say if I was on steroids, then people wouldn't have to ask. That's how I always said. Like, you don't have to ask. You wouldn't have to ask. Are you on juice? You wouldn't have to ask if I was. Let's just put it that way. So I appreciate the question. If someone asks me, hey, are you on steroids? And I say no. But if I was, people would just be like, oh, that dude's juicing. So I don't mind I think it's a compliment. So I don't take it. I don't take offense to it. I don't take offense to it. Do I take any vitamins? I eat raw liver. No, I don't take synthetic vitamins or anything. Vitamin D in the winter or magnesium, but I don't take like a multivitamin or anything. Dewey says dudes will look like Jabba the Hutt and put natty in their bio.
Matt Damon.
It's like, yeah, we know you're natty, dude. We know you're natty. You look like you don't even lift. Oscar says, dude, I'm not asking, but I think you are juicing. Okay, bro. I appreciate the compliment. You can think what you want. I have no reason to lie to anyone. I've said that many, many times that if I ever do TRT or something like that, I would just tell you guys like, hey, I went and got blood work and it was a little bit low and I decided now's the time and okay. And then I would just talk about it here on the podcast. So it would be good material. It'd be good content. I'd be like, hey, look, here are my numbers. Like, oh, I'm this, that, and the other. I'm going to be 42 in a couple months. So I'm coming up on that time period where TRT is probably going to be maybe a good idea. I don't know. I'm not sure if the risk is worth it or if I want to do something like that. Hasn't been something that I really wholeheartedly am interested in going down that road yet. I'm open to it. I'm not against people that are taking stuff. What's sinister is when people lie about it. So it's like, yeah, that's the thing. So Dewey says people who think guys like Papa Swole are juiced also believe that Liver King was natty. That whole thing. Come on, you guys remember when that dude was like really going viral a couple years ago? And we're here on the podcast. I'm like, this guy is juicing out of his fucking mind. And I was like, well, maybe he's natty because he's eating steak and liver. I was like, dude, I was eating raw liver online like years before that dude was promoting it. It doesn't get you like ripped and fucking inflamed. This guy's juicing out of his mind, which is fine. But when you lie about it, that's when, I mean, juicing like drinking juice from vegetables. No, I have a triple digit IQ. Juice from vegetables. Oh no. Vegetable juice? Good Lord. Don't blend chicken, just eat it. Chicken's a vegetable. But look, that's also what I do. It's also what I do. I've been training for 25 years. I haven't always been trying to get as big as possible. I exercise, I eat well, I get sun, I get quality sleep. So I have gains. But also, of course, when you're taking videos, you know, when people are in the gym and they show videos in the mirror and stuff like that, right? When you're working out, and you guys know you gotta have a hot shower or something, you look more lean and like veiny after a workout. Like I do a workout, look in the mirror, I'm like, oh, you flex. Like I have a sick pump because, you know, the blood's flushed to the muscles, the veins are coming to the surface, this, that, and the other. And then a lot of mirrors look like funhouse mirrors and you get good lighting and you look like you're sauced out of your mind. It's great to flex in these mirrors where you have like high lighting or low lighting in the gym and the mirrors like concave or convex or whatever the fuck it is. And you look like jacked out of your mind, but that goes away. And of course, when you're taking a video of it, you're going to look different than maybe in person. You know, so a lot of times you'll see some of these people in person, or you go to some of these like expos and stuff and you're like, oh, they're muscular, but they don't look like they're sauced out of their mind. You know, if you're someone who's, I guess, quote unquote, an influencer that doesn't take anything and you see them standing next to someone who's like a pro bodybuilder, like, oh yeah, they're not that big. But when you're on a video and you're on a screen and you're, you know, on a 6-inch screen, like you can look big you take up the whole phone. Like, wow, you're really big. So like I said, I don't sit there. I'm like, I don't go out there claiming natty. I am, but I'm not trying to claim it. That's a weird thing to say. I'm natty. Let people think what they want to think. Who cares what people think? I know I'm not taking anything. You come over and just look at the free, you know, just tons of meat, gym equipment. there's steak, there's dairy, like all the stuff that I always talk about. That's just all it is. My fridge is just beef and kefir and raw milk and cream and dates and fruit. But that's what I do. That's what I do. I live my life that way. So I get great results because I take care of myself. And I've been doing this for a while. Like, this is my job. This is what I do. So it's not like I'm going and working like an 18-hour shift doing something else. This is what I do. And I've done this for a long time. And even when I did have other jobs, you know, I had like, I don't want to say 9 to 5, but other jobs like that. Yeah. You know, I wasn't necessarily as big as I am now because I had less time and I was doing other things. My focus wasn't 100% on only what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it. So I created my life that way. And you can get a lot of results if that's your top priority. And I enjoy lifting, so it works out for me. T-Dizzle, faux shizzle. Is it better to lose fat than build muscle to lose weight, or the other way around? Build muscle. Focus on building muscle. If you're skinny, you need muscle. If you're obese, you need muscle. Build muscle and get your nutrition in order. Focus on lifting heavy weights and building muscle, getting stronger. All right, last chance for questions. We're going to move on. Going once, going twice. If you're watching on TikTok, make sure you click the link in bio. Buy one, get one 50% off. We got new merch over there on papaswolio.com, and that's also where we're going to have our new hair care and skincare products that drop soon. And of course, you can find links for the podcast. We're going to continue over on Rumble and YouTube. So thanks for being here. Come on over and watch on Rumble and YouTube at The Daily Swole. Appreciate you, fam. Link is in bio. Now let's move on to some balls deep content.
Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. That's deep.
Yeah, I mean, look, I appreciate it. I appreciate all the sentiments. The title of today's video is RFK launching a comprehensive review of infant formula. So I don't really have much else to say. It's a good title, but I saw this from Leading Report on X, and a comprehensive review. I mean, these things can literally be taken off the shelves today and everyone will be so much better for it. You need formula. You can give your kids sheep milk, goat milk, camel milk. So many things are more effective and safer. These things are absolute toxic poisons. But of course, people that feed their children this garbage, they're also giving their child 80 fucking injections in their first couple months. So let's scroll down. And there's another post, a response from the Refined Populist, and it says the #1 selling baby formula in America is 70% corn syrup, fake sugar substitutes, seed oils, and soy. This is a crime against humanity. I agree. So let's just read this image, and you can look it up online. All of them pretty much look the same. 42.6%. These are the ingredients. I'm just going to read the ingredient list as it's written. 42.6% corn syrup solids, 14.7% soy protein isolate, 11.5% high oleic safflower oil, 10.1% sugar, which is just sucrose, 8.4% soy oil, 7.8% coconut oil, 2.4% calcium phosphate, less than 2% of cone. I don't even know what the fuck does that say? M-alpina oil, potassium citrate, sodium chloride, magnesium chloride, ascorbic acid, L-methionine, potassium chloride, choline chloride, taurine ferrous sulfate, ascorbyl palmitate, inositol, zinc sulfate, blah, 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 blah. Gross. You're giving your child corn syrup. So when you're feeding your child this kind of stuff, you're giving them 50, 60 cents. It's just sugar, ultra processed vegetable oils, corn, soy. That's disgusting. That's poison for a child. That's poison for an adult. Yet you're giving this to your developing baby. That's disgusting. The fact that these things are on the shelves are just evil, and that they're being promoted by doctors in the medical community. It's really disgusting. Really disgusting. So Let's see. Any other posts from that? Yeah, really gross. Really gross stuff. What do you guys think about that? A lot of you have kids and you have opinions, and, you know, I'm not saying that if you fed your child some of this stuff and you didn't know, I'm not saying you're a bad parent, but like knowing what we know now, it's like, this is just disgusting. It's disgusting. It's been disgusting for a long time. But you're literally feeding your child fast food. It's fast food. It's ultra processed industrial waste. Like, this is what vegetable oils originally started from. It was lubricant for engines. So it's really literally just waste, industrial waste products that we're actually putting back into food to feed kids. And it's fucking disgusting. So the same things that we don't like about brainwashing children and manipulating them, we don't like child abuse, right? You have a baby, we wouldn't want someone to leave their baby outside or in the garage crying all night. Like, that'd be abusive. What about someone that's feeding their child this? You know? Like, it's disgusting. Like, what's the difference? What's the difference? So do better. Don't feed your child poison. Shocker. Shocker. Okay. Well, we have some lunatics to get into. Fam, who's ready for some? All right. Let's wrap this up. Let's have some fun. Let's do one of these. Pick a number 1 or 2. I will kick us off with, we'll just do the shortest one to start. Let's do this one. They're all kind of like a minute. This one's called Fat Friendships and Jump Scare. If you're eating, you've been warned. 3, 2, 1.
Reply to comments, especially with a video, but I just felt like it today.
Ugh.
This person is referring to the video where me and my guests are talking about the importance of fat friendships and truly just the importance of having friends who understand where you're coming from, whether that be, you know, you have a disability, you have friends with disabilities, mental health, you know, that kind of stuff. And I tried to be kind and be like, you know, I hope that you're happy and you let fat people be happy and find your own group of friends, but they still want to hate. So I just want to get on here and say that skinny doesn't mean healthy and fat doesn't mean unhealthy. There are a million reasons why people gain and lose weight, and everyone deserves friends who understand them and understand their experiences and uplift them and just encourage them to be the best versions of their self, fat or otherwise.
Good damn.
So commenter, I hope that clears it up for you.
Good damn. Woof.
That's a huge bitch.
Boof. Hey. Dewey says, we were heavily pro breast milk for our kids and leery of the formulas. We had times we would put formula in the breast milk for extra nutrition. I don't remember why. It was shocking how bad most are. Yeah, right on. Right on. Oh my God. Yikes. My God. Good Lord, man. All right, let's see what we got here. LET says 3, my lord. All right. Yes, my lord. What was that, StarCraft? For King and Country. Or was that Red Alert? Was that The Spy or Command and Conquer? Yes, my lord. For King and Country. God, I miss those games. All right, this is called Weight v. Wellness. Weight v. Wellness.
What's in the box?
There's a hot topic going around these days, and that topic is weight loss. And
I don't like when I whisper there's a hot topic.
Speak up, Lassie.
I had some thoughts on it because I'm me, and I always have thoughts on things. I've gotten some compliments recently on some weight loss that I've had. It's not a huge amount of weight, but I guess it's enough that people have noticed. And what I want to say is, thanks. I am under an inordinate amount of stress, and my appetite is down. I know they mean it as a compliment. I would just like to offer another perspective. If
someone doesn't know everything about your life and you got offended by someone complimenting you? Shut the fuck up. Shut up.
I didn't know they stacked shit that high.
is changing and you're not privy to the why. You don't know for a fact that they are working hard to make lifestyle changes. That just like to caution you before you compliment someone, because
no, compliment anyone who you want. Just compliment someone. Who gives a fuck? If someone's going to cry that they got a compliment, oh, they don't know my lived experience, then who cares? how someone reacts and how someone feels about things that it doesn't matter. Like, that's on them, right? Nothing that I say is offensive unless you take offense. Like, if you're a sensitive person, you're going to get offended by the wind blowing in the different direction. Why is it blowing south, southwest? Oh my God, that's racist, right? Like, who cares what someone else thinks of you or what someone else, like, that's none of your business, right? When someone like, oh, if you're concerned about what other people think, what someone else thinks, they're going to think whatever. And what they think is none of your business. That's their thoughts, right? We're not doing thought police bullshit. Someone can think whatever they want. And you know what I think? I think this is retarded.
My brain hears is...
Your brain hears things? That's interesting.
If I lose more weight, then they will really notice. And it will be proof and evidence of how much I'm struggling without me having to say that I'm struggling. And that loop, that feedback can be dangerous. I'm going to a lot of therapy. I'm working on all my coping mechanisms. I've got my...
You can't make this up. Is that what you just said? You're going to... We know. I could assume that, but thank you for sharing.
I'm going to a lot of therapy. I'm working to be dangerous. I'm going to a lot of therapy. 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 I'm going to a lot of therapy.
It's broken.
I'm going to a lot of therapy. 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 I'm working on all my coping mechanisms. I've got my toolbox. I've got my people. I'm aware that this line of thinking, I can shut it down, that it doesn't really lead to anywhere positive, especially with a history of disordered eating. But not everyone has that. Just an invitation, a reminder. All I know is that when I'm mentally, physically, and spiritually in alignment, my BMI says I'm obese.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
No medication except my fucking antidepressants. No medication except my fucking antidepressants.
All right, let's do another one, lads.
What's in the box?
Let's go. All right, next one's fear of being fat. Let's do it.
As someone who grew up in a fat body, I can tell you that my fat phobia runs deep. Not only did I grow up fat, but I also had a father that was morbidly obese most of my life. And I will tell you that I'm not scared of gaining 20 pounds because I'll have to buy new jeans, or maybe I develop a health condition, because honestly, we're all developing health conditions by what we put in and on our bodies. But my fear comes
Not wrong.
from how I know people will perceive me.
Who gives a fuck? Again, who gives a fuck how people perceive you? Okay? Who gives a fuck? Stop giving a shit. Now, these people give so much of a shit, they have to project their insecurity onto everyone else as being mean, right? Who gives a shit? If you want to be fat, then be fat. You don't have to post online trying to justify your fatness. It's just a grift. No one cares. We know you're fat. I see you at Walmart. Not her. Like, I mean, you know, it's people are fat. I get it. I don't hate people that are fat. I don't like point and laugh and like throw things at them. But I mean, if you're fat and you're going to a Krispy Kreme, it's like, Jesus Christ, we allow that. But then, you know, we wouldn't treat someone who's like addicted to crystal meth like, just go get some more meth. You'll be fine. Shake it off. We allow these addictions, right? Alcohol, we facilitate that. We facilitate food addictions, right? Pharmaceutical addictions. Like, we facilitate all those things. So it's our culture. You know, like, this stuff is insane. Who cares what people think? If you're justifying and trying to project like, oh, well, people are just being mean and X, Y, and Z, it's just, we're not falling for that shit anymore. You can't use your virtuous cudgel. It's not going to work.
We know people will treat me, because the world is cruel when you are large. And if you...
The world's cruel when you're large. Welcome to life. Nature, nothing gives a shit. No one gives a shit. You're kept in a bubble. And then you get out in the real world and realize, oh, Oh, these lies and these grifts, people are not playing along with it. The world's cruel when you're large. You're cruel to yourself. If you're large, you've been cruel to yourself. You've assaulted yourself, and then you're projecting your insecurities onto everyone else. The world's not cruel. You're cruel to yourself. So you perceive everything in that vein.
At any period of time in a large body, you know exactly what I'm talking about. People dehumanize you. You're not.
You dehumanize yourself. No one's dehumanizing anyone. Dehumanizing? You're extra human. You have a lot of human. You're more than a human should be.
Seen as a coworker, you're not seen as a friend.
You're not seen as a coworker? Oh my God, look at that fat person. They don't work with me. You don't work here. You're fat. You don't work here. You're not a coworker. You're not a friend. Your BMI is too high to be a friend. What are you talking about, retard?
Mother, a daughter, a father. You are
You're not a mother, a daughter, or a father. Bruh. Who wants to tell her?
simply seen as fat. That's it. Not as a person.
You're seen as fat, not as a person. I disagree. You're seen as a fat person. Why are you seen that way? Because, well, if you have eyes, that's what people will see. You're seen as a fat person. I'll tell you, if I see a 7-foot tall dude walking by, I'm going to be like, whoa, there's a tall person. If I see a fat person walking by, I'm not going to see there's a mother. I'm going to see there's a fat person. It's just visual traits. If I see a black person, like that person has melanin. It's an observation. Okay? That doesn't mean there's judgment. But I mean, you can deduct ideas and concepts from it. If someone's walking by morbidly obese, I don't see a black person walking by like, wow, that person just got too black. If I see a fat person walking by, or I'm like, all right, that person, do I think that person's taken great care of their health? Maybe they're walking, maybe they're exercising and eating better. Sure, maybe they're in the process of it. But like I said, you can't judge a book by its cover, but you can tell if it's 1,000 pages.
Honestly, it's the most fucked up thing when you've experienced it. But honestly, how could I not live in fear to be perceived that way? How
could I not be, because you're a weak person. You're a weak-willed person and you have guilt. You feel guilty and you feel shame for being that way because you know you brought that upon yourself.
could I not live in fear of food after that?
Live in fear of food. This is just ignorance. In fear of food. You don't have to be in fear of food. You should not be eating fast food and garbage. You don't have to be in fear of food if you eat quality food. Again, these people don't want to change their habits. Oh, it's over. Oh, it is done. It is over.
I have nipples, Greg. Could you milk me?
I love how everyone else is fat phobic. Everyone else is mean. They dehumanize me. You dehumanize yourself. Understand that this is low self-esteem that they're projecting onto everyone else. This is what a lot of people do, especially women. They project their own insecurities into everyone else. What they think about themselves, everyone else is thinking about them, which may or may not be the case. It doesn't matter what other people think. These people are so obsessed with what other people think about them, but they hate themselves. Again, it's projection. It's projection. If they hate themselves and they have low self-esteem, then no one else can think of them as a quality person. They're going through life miserable. They're going through life with all that self-hate. So they can't comprehend that anyone else would think anything aside from what they think, right? Their reality is what everyone else's reality is. Okay. You know, that's the same thing, right? When you're, like all these women, right? You've seen that stuff about on X, maybe about like black fatigue, you know, all the incessant like racism from black people against white people, all the victim culture, Marxism, all this bullshit. Fat people can talk about skinny people all the time. But then if I talk about fat people, it's rude, right? It's fat phobic if I talk about fat people. But if they talk about skinny people or white men or whatever, it's okay. So in other words, their bigotry is okay, but my observation and common sense is not. Got it.
Matt Damon.
Got it. All right. Jump scare. Throwback time. Sorry. If you're eating, put down the food. You're not gonna like the taste after watching this face.
There are Olympians, there are fat football players, there are fat yoga instructors. There are fat people in a lot of athletic
professions, right? I give you an A for effort. And the fact of the matter is that regardless of their size, I am positive that their athletic ability far surpasses yours.
Bitch, please!
Athletic ability does not equate to health.
So I'd love it if we could really just acknowledge what you're actually saying, which is that because I'm fat, I should be depriving myself, I should be limiting myself in some way.
Just take care of yourself.
You should be, I don't know, exercising and eating less cake.
Exercising to the extreme so that
it's not extreme. You mean just moving the body, moving like physical activity? Oh my God, that's awful. Oh my goodness. Oh,
God damn it, I don't know what it is about your face, but I want to deliver one of these right in your suck hole.
Is there anything I can do to work on that?
No, not really. It's your face.
It's just your face. It's just your face. Fam, we got a special event for you right now. We got another throwback. Let's double it up, baby.
Hadouken! Hadouken! Hadouken!
Let's do two, motherfuckers.
I have to stop binge eating. Follow along if you want to see my transformation.
Yeah, go fuck yourself, dude.
Look, if you're truly struggling with binge eating disorder or binge eating in general, as many do, one of the worst things you can do for yourself is start a diet.
Get the fuck out of here.
Ideally, you should see a registered dietitian and a therapist if you can afford it. If you can't,
Who is this guy?
If you can't, Project Heal connects people with resources, and the Alliance holds free support groups every week
Project
for people
Heal?
with eating disorders. Binge eating is a mental health problem that deserves a mental health solution.
You're a moron!
It's definitely a mental health problem. It's also a physical habit problem, but anyway, whatever. I love these edits. The Chode Man returns. Return of the Chode. Dun, 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 dun. Another punchable face, man.
60% of the time,
Another
it
one.
works every time.
Another.
That doesn't make sense.
Another one. Another. All right, fam. We got a Swole card to give away. Thanks for being here. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, share the show with your friends. We have a good time, but make sure you go to the fucking gym. Go make those gains. Hashtag get it done. Let's give away this Swole card. Shall we be? Thank you for being here. Get her down. Get her down. Get it done. 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 Where we landing on? Scroll, 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 scroll. Oh, we got a winner. It is Loretta. Loretta. Congratulations. Loretta's getting it done. All right. Shout out, Oh Canada. Send us an email to support@swolenormous.com. Swole card 3295 in the subject. Your schmailing address in the body of the shemale, and we'll send you the Swole card. Congratulations, Loretta. Very nice. Golf clap for Loretta, everyone. Any questions, concerns, qualms in the comments? All right. Congratulations, Loretta. Let's get this to Canada, and we will see you tomorrow for 3296. Again, swolenormousx.com. Join the fam today. papaswolio.com. Buy one, get one BOGO fitty for merch. Canada finally won something. Yeah. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Maybe sending the Swole card to Canada will set the record straight. But thanks for being here, Beaches. Appreciate you. And we'll see you tomorrow for 3296. Hope the card makes it past customs. I'll make sure not to put any pubes on this one. Thanks for being here. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace, McGeese, Smagoose. Your boy, Papa Swolio. Oh.
Crazy flow, need a straight jacket. Cash flow, I'm a bank addict. 6 subs, had the bass smacking. 808s, had the place clapping. 3 girls is enough for me, so I pull out like the stock crashing. Like an IPO, trying to purchase me. This a private sector, so you can't have it. Faking all that boom bapping. Who you think you is, boy? 90s want they sound back, so I give rap all these fake rappers as I take matters in my own hands. I don't need rapping, I don't need Zans. I don't need help, I'm a grown man. Now they king left and they so mad, it's like...
Yeah, I found that. Young king with my crown at. 10 racks in the fanny pack. Couple hundred in the Louis bag.
That's a bed that you made. That's a bed that you made. That's a bed that you made. That's a bed that you laid. What kind of game is you playing? We go hard in the paint, yeah. What the fuck is you saying? I only go where they pay. What kind of game is you playing? Yeah, whoa, My shit is relevant, on topic, my melanin is popping. I'm taking skeleton.